This is Actors Call Time. And now, here's your host, Carissa Mitchell.
Stand by up. There you are. Okay, you know what? Let's start over again.
Let's start over again.
Okay, ready? Hit that. Actors Call Time. Here we go. We're starting over.
This is Actors Call Time. And now, here's your host, Carissa Mitchell.
Hi. Welcome to Actors Call Time with Carissa Mitchell. That's me. I'm Carissa Mitchell. This is episode 2. So glad you joined us tonight. Our topic tonight is youth performers, child actors. We've got lots of great guests tonight, including 2 Maries we're going to be talking to. That's going to be really fun. I get this phone call many times a week about parents that want to know how to get their child into modeling and things like that. People say that their beautiful baby should be, a model. And that might be true, but that's not what I do as an agent. And so I just encourage you, if you're a parent that is interested in getting your child into modeling or acting, do your research, look at different agents' websites and find out what they really do and who they represent, whether they represent models or actors. I am a SAG franchised agent. I represent actors for film and television and voiceover and commercials in Los Angeles and New Mexico. I do not represent baby models. And so if you're watching this, you don't have to call me and ask me about it. But really what we're talking about today is from the child's perspective and from the parent's perspective and from the SAG perspective and a casting director's perspective. And so there's so many things to talk about, but earlier today, I did talk to Mark Comstock, the local New Mexico SAG president, to talk about some things from the SAG perspective. So let's take a look at that clip. Hi, Mark. How are you doing?
Good. Hi, Carissa. Hi, everybody. Good to be back for a brief segment this time. Something very important.
We were a little windy last time.
Just get you and I in a room and good night.
I know, and plus there hasn't been that much time to see each other.
No. But you wanted to ask about something that I think is really important.
That's right. This week's segment is all about young performers. And so I wanted to know what you, from the SAG side, have to say about getting started, all those kinds of things about kids.
Yeah, that's the great thing about not only SAG-AFTRA, because there is a link on the website where they specifically talk about young performers, and if you are a young performer or if you are a parent of a young performer, and just some guidelines and some things to follow and getting started, because it's hard to navigate as an adult. So trying to navigate your child, and it's that business side of it is hard for anyone. So there are resources at sagaftra.org, and I think it's / young performers, which is a great resource. When I was in Los Angeles, a parent friend of mine who had a child actor who was a friend mentioned this Hollywood Mom blog, which she updates regularly, and parents can ask questions, and it's terrific.
Great.
So those are those things that you as a parent want to look into. But the union itself has got started what's called the Coogan Law. And this goes back to 1939 when a performer named Jackie Coogan, who was like in Charlie Chaplin movies, when he was older, turned out his parents had spent all $3 or $4 million of his earnings, and he had to sue to get what was left. And so they set up these laws so that basically 15% of a performer's income goes into a trust or a savings account. Now, a parent or guardian can monitor those funds, but not withdraw them. They become the child's funds, and then when they are 18 or 21, depending on how it's set up, they have access to that. So there's something there for them, whether this is a career or if it's just like a, hey, helping pay for college kind of career path too. So, and there's only 4 states where a Coogan law is required if you have a child in the entertainment business, and that's Los Angeles, New York, Louisiana, and wait for it, New Mexico.
Yay.
We're one of the 4. So I'm really proud of that because I know we have a lot of young performers, and really, and you've got some on your roster that are terrific and working. So anything we can do to kind of ensure that safe transition from child performer in the business side of it to adult performer, I think is really beneficial.
Absolutely. And we've been through this a lot in New Mexico. It's basically a non-interest bearing trust account for minors. And so we've had a hard time finding banks that are willing to do it for us. But that's the buzzwords for what kind of account they need to set up.
Yeah, and there's a couple things, because in other states or bigger markets that's more common. Payroll companies can help mediate that. But SAG-AFTRA credit union, you don't have to be in Los Angeles to set that up, and they're very familiar with that. No. So sometimes I know parents will set that up and set it up for the Coogan stuff, and it's obviously everything's online anyway. But going through the SAG-AFTRA Federal Credit Union is a really great way to start, because they're so familiar with it, and you can sign up and open an account online and all of those things.
That's right. And the cool thing is, once it's set up and you give your bank account number to the payroll of the production, it's just another direct deposit like taxes and security and those sorts of things. Nothing to be done once you give them the account number.
Yeah, and you just hope that productions who hire young performers let those parents who are like trying to set this all up, give them a little bit of that grace period to kind of work through it, because it's so important. But once it's set up, it's usually pretty smooth sailing. And I think, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I think payment has to go within 15 days of your performance. Like those funds have to be there within 15 days.
That's right.
So it's a great thing. It's just navigating it like anything else.
Right. I know that kids really love to follow their account balances and see how much they've got.
Who doesn't?
Can't touch.
It's like getting residuals tracker. Refresh.
I need more residuals.
Do you think Brad Pitt refreshes his residual tracker? No.
Probably not.
No.
What else do you have to tell us about young performers from the SAG perspective?
Here's one of the things that we were trying to get going right before the pandemic too, is to have these things where we can get like young performers that are on YouTube and social media and influencers start to getting under some union contracts to give them some coverage, as well as just helping educate younger performers of the importance of being a union and what they can do to be involved, and also teaching us old timers how do we get better at social media and how do we create our own content, because it's so second nature for them. So it's something where we can maybe help with the business side of it, but they have and this is the generation that's going to have that next idea and that next sense of leadership. So it's, hey, we have a young performers national committee, and it's like, here's how you do your own content. Here's how you set up a podcast. Here's how you do contracts. And it's the actual young performers that are like, well, what about this? Oh, we didn't think about that because we're over X, Y, and Z age. So it's content creators are done by the youth, and we need to get them involved and at the same time learn from them, because like what you're doing right now with this podcast, I couldn't do. And so I think Doug and Kristen are probably 15-year-olds at heart, but I know that if I went to my neighbor next door who's 17, he'd be like, oh, blah, 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 and get it done. So how can we get the same fun and creative and not bog them down with sometimes the business side of a union?
Absolutely. Well, Mark, thank you so much. We'll see you again.
Such a pleasure to be here, and I can't wait to hear what your other guests say today. Thank you for having me.
Take care. Bye. Really great things. I am so honored to introduce you today to one of the most hardest working young performers in New Mexico and her equally hardworking mom, Shannan and Marie Wagenman. Welcome to the show. Hi. Marie, I think I counted over 15 credits. You have 4 recurring roles on TV shows, and you're all of 10 years old. You've been working a lot. Let's go to her clip and let's show some of Marie's work.
Maddie? Up you go. Yeah, I like your drawings.
It's a ladybug.
A ladybug. Wow, it's beautiful.
You taking me to school again?
Uh-huh. And picking you up.
Daddy, look.
Where the trade centers are. 2 planes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack.
Sorry I made it I can't wake them up.
Lost another one of our own today to this drug epidemic. She was a kind and loving soul, a special member of our flock.
Mommy, what's wrong?
Nothing, baby. Everything's okay.
Daddy?
No.
Hey, I missed you so much.
You're not taking her anywhere.
Daddy, you're scared.
Police are on their way. Sam, you're drunk.
Mommy, I'm scared.
The voices can't talk to me anymore.
Voices can't talk to me anymore. My mommy needs help. Mama! Mama! I'm sorry.
What's wrong? Who's that girl?
It's me. She looks exactly like me when I was 9, the year my mom died and everything went to hell.
Daddy,
Yeah.
I don't feel good. I don't like it here.
Zoe?
I want to go home.
Hold on, baby, I'm here.
Mommy, do you still love me?
Of course I do, sweetheart.
He's coming, Mommy.
Who's coming, baby?
I don't like it.
Don't be rude.
I don't like it. I want to go home.
This is your home now.
No matter where we are, we're always together. Always and forever.
Have you seen this man? Is this the man in the car leaving the warehouse?
So, food? Yes. I gotta use the pooch paw.
Being suffocated here, that's why. Between you and that kid in this house, my life doesn't start every time Bailey has some damn science fair.
Snack break time. I'm getting us some dinner. Hey, let's go ride our bikes. Let's go right now. Whoa, get more excited.
That was amazing. Wow, what a great body of work. And I was just talking to Shannan about it, and she said that at this point she's even dropped some things off of it that aren't on there. So much work. Marie, thank you so much for being here. And I do want to say that if anyone wants to ask a question of Shannan or Marie, please put it in the chat and we will bring it out later to talk if you have any questions. But Marie, I wanted to start with you.
Okay.
So what is your job as an actor? What do you feel like your job is?
Like if you get like an audition, your job is like just to basically do auditions. And your second job is just like if you book it, then you try to get the shot as best as possible, as quick as possible.
Wow, that's great. She's such a professional. I love it. She's like done this so much. How does it feel when you go? I talk to a lot of actors. I talk to a lot of adult actors that feel the rejection, feel when they don't get the part. How does it feel to you when you've left an audition? Do you ask your mom a lot if you got the part? How do you feel about getting the part or not getting the part?
Honestly, after I do auditions, I just try to completely forget about it and like not stress or worry about like if I got it or not. Like I never ask my mom if I got it or anything like that. I just try to like wait, be calm, forget about it, and if I get it, that's great. That's awesome. That's a great place to be. I know a lot of times I'll call Shannan and say, Marie got the part, and she'll be like, which one was that again? So what is one of your favorite things about being an actor, being on set? What is one of your favorite things? Honestly, it's just about like getting to meet all of these amazing people. Like on set, like just the cast and crew, they're absolutely amazing.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I know that you've worked with some very, very famous people. I know that sometimes you probably didn't know who they were, but maybe somebody else knew who they were. Who's one of your favorite people that you've worked with, and who do you think your mom's favorite is?
Like when I was 5 or 6, somewhere around there.
Way back then.
When I was filming on the set of 12 Strong, I really, really, really liked meeting Chris Hemsworth and Elsa Pataki. They were honestly both just like absolutely amazing and incredible people.
It's incredible because they're married in real life and they played a couple and you played their daughter, right? I always was like, I wonder what their actual children look like. Do they look anything like you? Well, that's cool. And Shannan, we can bring you in. How did that feel to be on set with Chris Hemsworth and getting to meet him?
It was incredible. But at that point, Marie had already done 3 very, very big shows. She had done Preacher. She was in the middle of doing Godless. And so it wasn't a huge step up to do that, but just having those actors come in. And Jerry Bruckheimer was on the set with Marie, coaching Marie, which was just like, it's Jerry Bruckheimer. It was such a privilege, and they were all so nice to her, so nice to me, and we learned so much about acting, about directing, about every single little piece of the puzzle, but how kind and wonderful those superstar actors are. And you have to be nice in order to move up.
Sure.
Otherwise, they'll weed you out. If you're a meanie, they'll weed you out.
No meanies.
Yeah, no meanies. No meanies.
So, Marie, one of the other fun things that I know about you is that you've gotten to act with some of your friends.
Yeah.
You want to give out a shout out to some of your friends that you've worked with?
So one of my most recent films was when I filmed Deadly Illusions. It's coming out on March 18th if you want to watch it. And yeah, on Netflix. And I got to work with the amazing and fantastic Shiloh Molina. And he was just
we love Shiloh.
Absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And I think that he'll book many future roles. And I also got to work with Sydney Garrity on the set of Unpregnant. And like it was her first role and she did absolutely incredible. I'm really proud of both of them.
I love that you're best friends with Sydney in real life, and you played best friends, the younger version of the lead's best friends in Unpregnant. That's so cool. Both Sydney and Shiloh, that was their first auditions, first auditions ever, and booked those roles with you. And so you were the consummate professional that helped them through those. I actually got to go visit you and Shiloh on the set. That was a really fun day, really fun. Tell me a little bit about what school is like when you're on set. How does all of that work?
Like if you're on set, like on a school day when you're supposed to be at school, a lot of times they give you a set teacher that gives you like about 3 hours of school time that you need to work on. And like, I always make sure that I'm like a really good student in in-person class. So then my teacher doesn't really mind if I miss a few hours or that kind of stuff for filming.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So do you ask your teacher for homework and things like that when you know you're going to be on set and they send you home with work to do?
Yeah, a lot of times she gives us the assignments that we're supposed to be doing during class. And while I'm not filming, I always do those assignments and just try to get them done.
Nice. I know there's a lot of kids that don't do that on a good day, so that's amazing. Amazing. What can you tell us about being on set, on set etiquette? What have you learned about what not to do and what to do when you're on a set as far as your behavior goes?
When you're on a set, with big actors or something like that, never take pictures of the big actors and post them on social media or anything like that. And just overall don't post anything about the movie or TV show that you're working on social media unless they give you the green light to do it if the movie's about to come out.
That's right. That's good. I have a hard time with adults, telling a lot of adults not to do that. And you will always have those memories. They're always going to be special, and you can post them later if you do get the chance to take a photo or anything. But that is something that I think everyone should take heed to, is to not post anything beforehand. A lot of times we have to sign that we're not even gonna, talk about it publicly and things like that. So I'm glad that you got that figured out early on. Thank you. Shannan, let's talk to you a little bit about the momager role, which is something that you do so beautifully. I have so many questions for you about motivation, about how to get the kids to, they say they want to do this. How do you make them follow through, and when do you say, all right, we're going to take a break from this? How do you keep because you have a lot of kids that are doing this. How do you keep them motivated?
It's not me keeping them motivated. It's really, they have to want to do it. They have to want to do it and love doing it. I mean, the process of auditioning, it can be strenuous. It can be strenuous. And if you're not having fun with it, it's not worth it, because really 99% of the time as an actor, you are auditioning. That's your job. If you're not having fun in your job as a kid, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. But when Marie gets auditions, we have so much fun. We laugh so hard at the outtakes, diving into the roles. You become another person just for the hour, however long you're working on it. And at the end we watch the outtakes and we crack up. But it can't be the parent that wants it. It has to be the kid that wants it and likes it, because sometimes it takes years. It takes years to book a role. It happened pretty fast for Marie, but for some of my other kids, it wasn't so fast, and they had to work harder and longer and just push through it. And that's okay, because that's the job, is to being an actor. As a mom, or as a momager, I should say, there's so much organization you have to do. It sometimes can be, it can feel like a full-time job, just because we have, 6 kids who act. So you have to be extremely organized. You have to have your paperwork ready. You have to be ready to, if they call you to Zoom down to an audition, you have to Zoom down to an audition and be happy about doing it. So you've got to be so flexible about auditioning. And then, like Marie said, it's just the cherry on top is if you book a role. And when you do that, you need to be prepared. But what I really think, when you're on set, a mom on set, it's kind of like being in the CIA. You have to not be seen, not be heard. You need to be in the back, in your black, fade into the background unless you're needed. So it's kind of like, the bodyguards of, the CIA.
I love it. CIA momager. I love it. I'm sure we could sit here and tell lots and lots of stories about bad behavior. And that's for another day, and those are fun. But what is some advice that you could give parents who think they have a child that really wants to do it? How would they get started? How would you? What kind of advice? And I know they call you.
They do call me. And if the kid wants to do it, give it a shot. Start by working background. Start by just working regular background, then move up to featured background. Then if you have the opportunity, do a stand-in role or a photo double role and see how they like it. Learn about how it is to be on set. There's so many terms that you need to learn, like what is a pumpkin, what's a 10-2, what's a 10-1, what's a martini shot. You learn all these things.
What's a pumpkin? I don't know what a pumpkin is.
I forgot, honestly.
It's on the call sheet. That's the time that the kid has to be finished for the day. They turn, it's like the Cinderella's
they turn into a pumpkin.
Turn into a pumpkin. So it'll say like Marie Wagenman, pumpkin, 7:30 p.m.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's great. Well, let's go to the comments and see if we have any questions that for you. Are you ready for this, Marie?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got some really good comments. One of them says, "Are you sure she's 10? She's so professional." That's a good one. Very good. Jennifer has a question. Can you talk about actors and their presence on social media? We did talk about that a little bit. How might this affect their hireability depending on the content they are posting? And what would positive social media look like? We did hit upon that a little bit, but what are your parameters for your own kids being on social media?
So for us, we started out with a social media presence, and then Marie started booking some bigger roles like 12 Strong, Godless, and then we started getting some weirdies that were trying to contact Marie, so like weird old men from different countries trying to contact Marie, and it was not okay.
No.
So we cut it out. It's not worth it. They don't need it. And I'm sure some people have gotten roles. I know there's lots of people who have gotten roles from having an amazing social media presence. But for us, we're going to focus on, being our best actors that we can be. And there's plenty of time in the future for social media, in my opinion. Plus, it's a lot to handle. Social media is like a full-time job in general. But for us, we haven't needed it, and it's better to protect Marie than to promote Marie.
That's right, absolutely. And I feel like I shout out from my agency when she books things, and my other actors too. So we have one more question. Talk about the school set teacher and requirements for school on set. We did also talk about that a little bit, but has it ever been a problem? Like, what if there isn't any? Has your teacher ever said you don't really have any work, you're all caught up?
Like if they say that or something, then like for school time, sometimes I just like grab a book that I brought like for entertainment and start reading, and that counts as school time, and it's like very fun.
That's awesome. I love it. Reading a book. Catherine Stearns said that Shannan has taught me so much, so thank you for that. Marie is so poised and beautiful. What local acting classes do you recommend for kids in New Mexico?
I definitely recommend the Box Theater.
Cardboard Playhouse Theater Company. Yes.
They have improv classes, which are so important. They have acting classes. They have all sorts of comedy classes, which are really, really important. And then Soul Acting Academy is fantastic. And there's a gentleman also, Steve Burho, who teaches classes. He's fantastic. There's so many opportunities out there. There's private actors. There's a lot of private actors that are really, really strong actors that'll give lessons. But don't spend too much money.
That leads me to one other question. How often do you get new headshots for your kids? I mean, I feel like kids wake up and their teeth and their faces are different. And how often do you recycle through at different ages?
I would say minimum every 6 months, just because they change. Marie's hair changes a lot. Her hair grows like a chia pet. So we have to get them frequently for Marie. But as often as the things change, if a tooth falls out or if their hair changes, their hair color changes, get new headshots. And find somebody who isn't charging, $500-$600 for headshots.
That's right.
There's several people in town who are fantastic with headshots and affordable.
That's great. And you don't want to spend a lot of money because they're going to change. As soon as you get the photos back, they're going to change. Is there anything else that you'd like to say? Is there anything you'd like to say to kids out there that want to be actors? Any advice?
I would just say that, like, there's no need to stress about anything. Like, as long as you're prepared, then, like, don't stress about anything. Like, just be yourself and, yeah.
I agree. I just want to say, go for it. Go for it if you want to give it a go. Be prepared as a parent. Be prepared to spend a lot of time and energy helping them. But give it a go. Try background. See if you like it. See if the kid likes being on set. Because a lot of kids will say, oh, it's great. And then they go work background and like, wait, we have to wait. We have to sit here in this little room for 6 to 9 hours. Not every kid can handle that. And Marie, for example, is very unusual, where she is a super, super quiet child. She'll follow directions, and she'll read a book for hours on end. But not every kid will sit there quietly. So give it a go, but try background first is what I really, really recommend.
That's great. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for being here. You guys are amazing. You make all of us in New Mexico look good. We're all ambassadors to New Mexico here. And I love it when people are like, she was so great to work with. I can't wait to work with her again. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys being here. It's good to see you in person.
And big shout out to the best agent ever.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Keep talking. I love it. So next we want to go to Christi's do's and don'ts. Let's see what she's got to say.
For audition tapes, do speak at a good volume and have your eye line just to the side of the camera without looking directly at it. Don't miss a step, a sides page, or a specific instruction from casting.
Thanks, Christi. I appreciate all of your do's and don'ts so much. She's the good cop. She's the bad cop to my good cop sometimes. I love it. I did want to take just a minute to talk about some things that parents can do with their kids to get started based on years of experience and lots of phone calls and things like that. But one of the things when people say, how can my child get started? And we've established they don't want to be models, they want to be actors. And Shannan said it so beautifully. I love theater for children. Cardboard Playhouse Children's Theater is so amazing, and they are learning as they go. It's not a class, it's they're learning on the stage. I love kids that take theater. Do your homework on classes. Find reputable people that have their own good credits to teach classes. Shannan did mention some before. I also say encourage your children to read as much as they can and to write their own things. Have them become their own storytellers. There's so much that can happen with them, just with them doing their own kind of projects. And also start at the local level. New Mexico is an incredible place for kids to learn how to be on set and to act and all that sort of stuff. And then we wanted to talk a little bit about scams. There's so many scams. We just heard about one the other day. But here's the thing. Just don't pay for anything. Don't pay for classes. If you find a manager or a talent scout or an agent that says they're an agent or a manager, and what they're doing is they're asking you to pay for photo packages, pay for classes, pay to take trips to Los Angeles, or pay to do showcases in Los Angeles. Those are a scam. They just want your money. They don't care about anything else but getting your money. So you can always call the local SAG board, and they can talk to you about legitimate SAG AFTRA franchised agents who are not going to be doing those things because we're part of the union. Most of all, one of the best things you can do as a parent is you can parent your child to be comfortable in their own skin, just to be good kids and to be free to express themselves and to be characters, to be silly, those sorts of things. Most casting these days is really about children being real. And even I was talking to one of my little young guys the other day, and he was sad. He'd done a lot of Disney auditions, and I had gotten him another Disney audition, and he was like, I'm not going to be able to compete with those LA kids. And one of the interesting things about casting these days with kids is they don't want kids that have been sort of ruined by the LA experience and things like that. So they're looking all over the country for untapped kids. So just give those kids the confidence that they need to be themselves is one of the best things that you can do. And make sure that you're doing it for the kid and not living vicariously for what you wanted from yourself. So that's great. So our next guest, I'm so excited to have join us. Marie McMaster from CSA from New Mexico is a local casting director, and she's at home, and we're going to talk to her via her home. So let's go. Hi, Marie. How are you? I cannot hear her.
Oh, hello.
There she is.
Now?
Hello. I can hear you now.
I was noticing how flushed I was. I had just run outside to yell at my dogs to stop barking.
Did you see my little dog sitting here asleep in the front here?
Of course. So well behaved. So unlike my dogs.
Oh my goodness. So I did want to talk to you a little bit from the casting director point of view about what it's like to work with children in the audition room, what it's like to work with parents. You and I talk about scams a lot that are happening, but what is your favorite thing about bringing a kid in for an audition?
Well, Shannan really said it best. It's when the kids want it. And you know when the kids want it, and you know when the parents want it. And I can't tell you how many auditions we've had where the kid says the line and they open the door and they say, Mom, can I get ice cream now? Mom, do I get to have a toy now? I did it. And it's like, oh,
I've been bribed.
no, we want you to want it. And we can tell when kids don't want it and they're just in it and, you know, come in the room. We never let parents in the audition room. Parents are the kiss of death.
They could be on the other side of the door listening.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but they can't have any input. One of the fun things when I used to teach my kid classes, the first thing I would tell all of the kids was, don't listen to your parents. That was the very first thing I taught them. And then, of course, I had to segue that was only for audition-related purposes, that otherwise you should listen to your parents. So that's the gist of it.
Right. So tell us, what are some of the things that how can you tell that a parent wants it more than their child?
I think when you can tell that a kid's been really coached, you know, they have the same mannerisms or motions or actions, whatever it is, based on everything. And also when they're very particular about getting each word. You know, kids have impeccable instincts. If you get a kid and you give them a set of sides without the parental influence, 9 times out of 10, that kid will knock it out of the ballpark. It's the parental influence that sort of ruins it, really.
Parents are ruining it.
They are. I've had directors say, you know, we really like this kid, but we need to talk to the parents. They're not allowed to run the lines with him anymore. If they continue to run lines, we can't cast him. So it's not just a made up problem. It's an actual problem. And I liken it to when parents really want it, they're not directors, they're not writers, they're not working in film. They're just people who have watched TV and decided they want their kids to be stars. So, I mean, as an adult actor, you certainly wouldn't take that sort of advice from someone else who didn't have experience.
No. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about some of the scams that we've seen and for kids. And I know you're a mom and you're fiercely protective of all children. What are some of the things to look for to identify something as being scammy?
I think recently, this is sort of what's really occurred to me. The minute anyone asks for an application, you know, sign on to our website and apply to be represented by us, or apply to allow us to work with you, apply to get these auditions. All of that is what you said. And it's basically, they're just going to ask you for money. And you should never, ever, ever, ever pay to work. I mean, we just know that to be true. So.
Absolutely. What do you think about, I'm going to ask you the question as well because you're a mom, but what do you think about social media and kids, especially kids that are actors?
Gosh, I like to say that I am fiercely protective about social media, but my kid's on TikTok like all the time and she's 12. But people with 12-year-olds probably know where I'm at. I'm like, I don't, you know, Mark said it. I'm like, I don't even know what how does it work? Like, what do you do? What's the point of it? So, but they're also, we've been very strict with our kids about who you allow to be your friend. You never, ever, ever private message with anyone, no matter what. You never even tell them what state you live in if someone asks. So we're very protective on that front.
That's good.
I don't think it's necessary for a kid to be an actor. It's just like oranges and airplanes. They don't need to have a social media presence to act. That's not what we're looking for in our office.
Okay, so do you ever look at a child performer or an adult performer's Instagram, like their actor's Instagram, to see how many followers they have or anything? Do you ever look at that stuff?
I don't, never. It's not, I know that there are some projects, and I think generally that gets more maybe webisode type things who are looking for those people who have a lot of followers. Those sort of projects I work on, that's not necessary, not. Yeah.
I mean, I look at actors' social media just to sort of monitor that they're not doing something that's going to embarrass themselves or embarrass the agency or embarrass, you know, the film industry in general, or make the producers or the directors upset. I do look at that sort of thing as a monitor.
I look
maybe
at
more
that
than
stuff
anything.
for everyone. The kids are not ever the problem. It's almost always the adults.
Us parents, we just ruin everything. Oh my
do.
goodness. I'm sure the kids feel that way too.
I do, though. I watch out for that kind of thing because it crosses all fronts. You know, if somebody's on social media and they're making derogatory comments towards a certain type of people or whatever, that speaks volumes. Do I trust that person to be on a set that's going to be wildly diverse? No. And each one of us individually represents New Mexico film as a whole. Do I want to give that person the opportunity to speak for all of us? Probably not.
Right. I say this to my actors all the time. Everyone is staking their reputation on the actor going through this gauntlet of me submitting them, of you looking at their audition, of you presenting them to the director or the producer. We're all ushering through saying, I stake my reputation on this person. And that's a pretty powerful thing. I want to ask you a question because we're in a pandemic. We've been, a year of this. How do you... Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was kidding.
Yeah, how do you feel about the difference between self-tapes as a casting director, self-tapes versus in-person versus virtual auditions?
I think that I keep hearing, and of course I'm guilty of it, saying I can't wait till we're back in person. And I don't see that happening anytime in the foreseeable future. So really the way of things is self-tapes and virtual auditions. Myself, I prefer virtual auditions because I like talking with people. If I can't be in the same room with them, I'd still like to be in the same moment with them and share that personal experience. So that's really important to me. I also think it's really important that everyone needs to have a self-tape or virtual taping setup that works. There's constantly, which we're all still working through, but people have busy backgrounds because they're in their bedrooms and they don't, or, they don't have the lighting or they don't have the sound or they don't. So we have to really up that ante a little bit. Before it was like, may the best actor win. And there's probably only 1 or 2 self-tapes, but now it's like everyone's self-taping. So you're also in being compared to that. You can't have a really, crummy background or sound or something because you're going up against everyone else who had the same opportunity to tape from their homes.
Right. And I feel like one of the things I've heard you say many, many times is, could you bring them back in so that can we work with them for just a minute? I know they'll get it if we just work with them. And you can't do that on a self-tape. You can ask for it again. Yeah.
We like to make the joke that we're not casting tape watchers. We're casting directors. So that's why I love being in the room and being able to redirect. And generally I know more about what the production is looking for. So that's helpful.
That's awesome. We've got about 30 seconds left. Anything else that you wanted to talk about or share with us?
If you don't make your kids do it, if they don't want to do it, they have to want it 100%. Marie is like, she's a gem. We're all so lucky to have her, but she is definitely the minority. That is not every other child actor. So feel your kids out. My kid doesn't want to do it anymore. I'm like, thank God. Okay. Washed our hands of that.
That's awesome. And what do you feel about classes and the kinds of activities that parents can have their kids do in the meantime while they're trying to get started?
Cardboard Playhouse. Because I just love Cardboard Playhouse.
Same.
But I know, thanks Shannan for saying everything, but it doesn't have to be expensive. Everything is affordable. If you're networking with the right people, you're going to make a friend who's an actor or an actress who's working, who'd be happy to work with your young child if they're really interested. So just network. This is New Mexico. We're a community. We're a family. That's what this film community is. We're not Hollywood. We're not Atlanta. We're not New York. It's like we're something special here. So yeah.
That's right. We are. And you don't need a passport to come to New Mexico, do you?
No, but I guess I have to put that on my business cards.
That's fun. Well, Marie, thank you so much for being a part of this. I love you, and thank you for all that you do for us in New Mexico. You raised the bar, and I really appreciate everything you do. And I know we're going to have you on again to talk about other things because you've got a lot to say.
Thank you guys for all that you do. You're amazing. Love you.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, hi. Hello. Back to this camera. Mostly people are just saying how much they love both the Maries, which is totally appropriate. Let's see. Lots of people talking about things. If you have any other questions, now's the time to do it. But I do want to say that really working with your child is really sniffing out the genuine people that are really there to work with your child and the people that are there just to prey on your desire to have your child be a performer. So check your hearts, check your motivations for why you want to do things with your child. Is it because they really want to do it, or is it because you want them to do it? As a parent myself, I know it's really difficult to get your child to do something that they don't want to do. So let's see, is there any other questions? Can we go to Catherine Stern says, I love that in the same moment part about that. And we will get to in-person auditions again, hopefully. If you have any other comments or questions, you can put them in the chat later and we can look at them as well, or any other topics. Will Marie have any other classes coming up? You should look on her Facebook page and we can also post that and later, and she can do that as well. She's a great teacher. There's a lot of great teachers out there. Cardboard Playhouse, my friends, are so good at teaching children on the job, basically, not in a classroom setting. And as soon as we can get back to that, we are going to get back to that. I just wanted to let you know that we're going back over here now.
Hi. Hello. My next show will be Tuesday, March 16th, and we will have a new topic and we'll have some new guests. And I would love for you to check out the rest of this week's schedule at Cardboard Playhouse and the Box. Take it away. Marie McMaster just said she's too busy. She doesn't have any classes coming up, but you can watch her on Facebook and see if she's got any coming up. But please like and subscribe to Cardboard Playhouse and The Box ABQ on Facebook and YouTube. If you feel like you missed any information or you want to share this with somebody who needs to hear this information, these shows will be available and shareable after the show airs. So I just want to thank you so much for being with us tonight, and until next time, cheers.